Internet, kind of like reaching your hand into a bag of unknown scrolls hoping for an advantage, but knowing deep down you're about to screw everything up. Let's lose our votes, then quadruple down and predict the next 4 boots on Survivor 47. Sorry, did I just say the next 4? I meant the top 4 players who I think stand the best chance to win this whole damn season of Survivor. Oh, and look at that, I just lost my vote for 2 straight tribals. God, come on, Jeff, what is this twist? Don't you tell me it's a skill issue. Now, before I get to my top 4 picks, let me know your top 4 picks for the winner of Survivor 47 in the comments below. Let's see if they match mine, and if we're all gonna be wrong by the end. Because, for real, this season feels wide open, more so than most Survivor seasons these days, and while I have a few top dogs that I think seem to stand a great chance, I am learning to be wary in the new era, as top dogs tend to bark too loud too early and then just end up as like a mid-merge boot. For the first time in Survivor history, we have a 3-tribe season where after the first 3 episodes, we don't have a medevac or a quit, and each tribe has gone to tribal council. Believe it or not, that's never happened before in a 3-tribe season, and it's kind of wild given I just recapped the entire history of disaster tribes on Survivor a few weeks ago. I think we might be in the clear at this point for me to say I don't think we have any disaster tribes so far, and I reckon that we may not get one given the state of the game. 3 tribes on equal footing with a top contender from each, so I figure let's just run down each tribe and talk about who we think is most likely going to win from each of them. Now, kind of like picking your favorite kid, I have one tribe that I feel most confident on, as there are going to be 2 contenders amongst their 5 right now, and I am going to be talking about the Yellow Gata tribe, the one with Andy, Annika, Rachel, Sam, and Sierra. Right now, looking at this Levitless tribe, I don't know about you, but I don't feel great about either of Annika or Rachel. I know they're supposed to be in this 4-person majority alliance, and then they've also got Sierra as a 3rd, giving the women a 3-2 numbers advantage, which means they should be good on paper, not to mention Andy becoming a bit of a pariah in the premiere episode, and only seemed to be making inroads with Sam by episode 2. The problem, for me, came in episode 3, however, when we saw Annika being a bit snippy with Sam, and then Andy just smirking in the background like a Big Brother live feed watcher who somehow found his way onto the island. Sam has put in work with Sierra to create a formidable duo within this 4-person majority, enough that the other tribes are now picking up on it too, believing there's possibly some kind of, I don't know, island romance. There isn't, but the perception builds up their targets, and perception is reality, so this doesn't appear good for them on the surface. But with Sam getting close to Sierra on a strategic level and Sierra doing the same, this gap has left Andy somewhat in the middle. And so that problem for Annika and Rachel is now the one player they don't seem to have looped into their future games at all. Andy. Sam has gotten closer to Andy, and by episode 3, so has Sierra, and then when you combine that with Annika losing her vote at the next tribal, this puts her and Rachel in a really bad spot where Andy may not be the next to go after all. But here's the deal. I really want to pick Andy as a true contender. A part of me wants to do it because he is channeling his inner Emily Flippin, and that's gotta pay off at some point, right? Is he just the guy who grows the most over the course of the season, or is he actually the winner? Does he have the gumption to win over the jury at the end? Just like Andy, I'm doing my best to collect all this data, do all these equations, and I'm actually gonna keep him off my contenders list, but tell you, he is my dark horse pick to win. My out of left field pick that nobody sees coming until, well, until they do. Because Sam is the most mobile player on this cast. He is left, he's right, he is center, and Sierra may benefit from that more than anyone else when the dust settles. Do you remember, what was her name? Oh, Kenzie from Survivor 46? Remember how much of a threat she appeared to be in the pre-merge after Banu threw her name out to the other tribes on one of those boat journeys? Kenzie looked primed to be the first to go at the merge from that purple tribe, but then, well, they didn't call her a mermaid dragon for nothing. I could see the same going for Sierra, or maybe even Sam, and with Andy in their back pocket, as well as an idol, as well as anything else that comes next, I feel like they're destined for the merge and maybe a little more. At this point, Honestly, the biggest payoff would just be them getting invited to each other's weddings. Gata has two of my contenders and my dark horse pick, which doesn't leave much room for the other two tribes. I feel like Gata is the most fleshed out of the three, and we have now seen all three of them go to tribal, so there's no excuse. What about Tuku? The blue tribe with Sue gunning for Kyle while Gabe tries to play the middle after dropping his idol box down a mountain. To be frank, I don't feel great about Tiana or Gabe or Caroline. Tiana because she's not all that relevant in times where I think she needs to be. Gabe for totally misreading Kyle and just being a bit sloppy overall. And then Caroline because she's more of a sidekick to Sue. And while it was great that she pulled off a blindside in episode 2 against TK, I just don't see much narrative momentum behind her. She is eclipsed by Sue, and really this tribe has Sue as their centerpiece. Sue is really the one getting the biggest wins here, and I'm 50-50 on either her or Kyle as my top pick from their group. Funny enough, as Kyle is trying to extend the olive branch to Sue because good guys can win Survivor, you've got Sue on the other end saying, nope, I'm not having any of it. She just wants to snap that branch in half and use it to scare Kyle off into the pre-merge. Kyle, meanwhile, has been surprising me. He's not the most active player, but he is trying to recover from a bad first tribal, one where I do question his decision to show his cards. It seemed like he knew that Sue wasn't going, but still voted for her, and even if he didn't know, he still got caught with his pants down by day 5. Being out of the loop at your first tribal is really statistically not a good look, and I worry for Kyle possibly being a pre-merge boot, given that he's now lost his vote and doesn't have a say against either Sue or Caroline, a package duo. What leverage does he have? He already threw Gabe under the bus, more ammunition against him, and where's Tiana in this? Sue, by almost default, you are my third contender for the win, but I don't love how petty you have been with Kyle when you probably should pocket his trust and just save that info for a rainy day. Kyle kind of clocked your reaction, didn't love that for you, but hey, it's just episode 3, and I think Sue could whip everyone's butt if the stars align. Lastly, we've got that red Lavo tribe, which I keep thinking says lava. I kind of wish they were the lava tribe, but whatever. And this tribe, I think, is pretty easy to break down because, let's be real, if we've got another Natalie White on our hands, I will be damned and gladly take the L with my last true contender. In other words, I am not going to be picking Saul or Genevieve because I barely know these people. Not their faults, but also not my fault when I have barely anything to work with. Saul was on the outs, he lost his #1 closest ally, and he has lost his alliance, and then Genevieve. Got nothing for ya. She's got Rome apparently, but that scene was saved for the secret scenes that are online only, not important enough to make the cut of an already 90-minute episode. No, we need more time to hear about how Sam has never eaten a single fruit in his entire life. Nope, that is more important than the lava tribe dynamic. And speaking of Rome, speaking to Rome, no, Pumpkin, no, you are not the godson of Boston Rob. You got dunked on so hard in that scene after Saul clocked your lie. Low-key, I kind of hope Rome goes far because I find him entertaining, but unlike the age-old adage, I don't think Rome is being built in a day, or 26 days for that matter. Which then leaves me with Teeny and Keyshawn, a dynamic duo where I unfortunately for them have already picked a dynamic duo on my list. Not enough space for the both of them, which means one has to get cut. And for me, similar to the Sue and Caroline situation, I have got one player who is really giving me more momentum, and then one who is there, seems to be doing well, but I'm just not feeling them as much. My fourth and final true contender for Survivor 47 is the aggro scarecrow themselves. It's Teeny. And oh my god, truth be told, let me tell you, I've spent a lot of time this week thinking over my top 4 dogs, and despite all of the permutations and combinations of players I could have selected, Teeny was literally the only one who landed in every single group. I adore Teeny. Their game is so multidimensional through these first 3 episodes, and they've really been the heart and brain of this lava lamp group. Teeny committed on day 1 to being everybody's #1, and guess what? It's basically panned out exactly as planned, outside of the fact that Rome managed to find 2 trinkets on day 7. What are you gonna do? He does what he wants. Asia, Keyshawn, Rome. All went through Teeny. Teeny flipped Rome on like a drop of a hat. Being the center of the information flow, positioning themselves perfectly in the middle to where you can practically be honest with all sides and still come out on top. Yeah, look, it hurts to vote out Asia so quickly. I get it. That's the downside of being so close to everybody, except for the invisible people on the tribe anyway. But that's also the boon of being that good. My only reservation now is if Teeny is too centered. Is Rome really the path forward? It doesn't seem all that formidable or long-lasting. Like, yeah, okay, you got Rome, but like, for how long? What does Genevieve think of this? I have no idea. And what's Saul about to do now? It is very possible that Keyshawn comes out ahead instead, just like Caroline with Sue, but my spidey senses are tingling and they're telling me otherwise. Also, I kind of just want to mention that I had the privilege of meeting Teeny a year ago at an RHAP Survivor event before they actually got on the show, before they were even cast. Season 47 didn't film until May of this year, and this chance encounter was back in October of last year. We talked a while about the show and just being a big super fan, and we talked about my YouTube channel and how I pick topics each week, and honestly, it was one of the best fan encounters I've ever had. I said it then, just as I'll say it now, Teeny was super relatable and chill and easy to talk to, and I'm not surprised to see them as a contender here at all. Win or lose, just given all that, my mind is kind of blown to be saying this now. Regardless, those are my true contenders for Survivor 47. Sam, Sierra, Sue, and Teeny. Let me know your true contenders to win this season and what you think of mine. Are we sleeping on Andy? Is this just like Andy's time to shine? A big thank you to my patrons for all your support, for channeling your inner Teeny each month. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to go to any live Survivor event in the future if you can. You never know what might happen next. And I will see you in the next one. Once I literally maybe see you at the next one. What are the odds?
I know it looks like I'm from the Wild Wild West right now, but I'm actually a proud New Jerseyan.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
I feel like this is like aggressively scarecrow. That's not really New Jersey's vibe, but I like to change it up with like my style.